This is an excerpt from Burning Woman by Lucy H. Pearce, starting on page 50. In India, Pakistan, and the Middle East, home to over 2 billion people, women suspected of adultery who seek divorce are raped or refuse to marry the partner chosen for them by their families can be burned alive by their families in honor killings. According to the UN, over 5,000 women a year die this way at the hands of their family members in the name of honor. Honor killings use violence and fear as tools of control. And many cultures where honor is a person's greatest social asset, men are seen as sources or agents of that honor, whereas the only effect that women can have on honor is to destroy it. Once the honor is destroyed by the woman, there is a need for immediate revenge to restore it in order for the family to avoid losing face in the community. The murders are often performed in public to warn the other women within the community of possible consequences of engaging in illicit behavior. In India and Pakistan, there is also the culture of bride burning, when a young woman is murdered by her husband or his family for her family's refusal to pay an additional dowry. The woman is typically doused with kerosene and set alight. This practice is relatively recent and has been particularly virulent since the 1980s. Over 2,500 women a year die this way. 1980. I know not everyone remembers 1980, but I was starting college in 1980. So this is crazy. Then the next heading in this book is Woman as Sinner. I urge you to buy this book. And the next few pages talk about women as harlots and sinners, as temptresses and wicked mothers. And she says that such images, such portrayals of women litter the pages of the sacred texts and children's fairy tales alike. So there's this need for women, the way it's set up by patriarchy, is to be a constant actor in a moral universe created and judged by men. Your best way of surviving it is to be good. And to be a good woman, according to Lucy, is to be a constant actor in a moral universe. To be a good woman is to constantly work to atone for your inherent unworthiness, to sacrifice yourself, your time, your vision, your dreams in the service of others. To be a good woman is to uncomplainingly do the work of others and never say no. To be a good woman is to tame yourself, to shave your body hair, curl your eyelashes, paint your face, and hide your soul in a quiet corner. The good woman, the ideal woman, is domesticated, beautiful to look at, doesn't take up too much space, is quiet, obedient, hardworking, God-fearing, and dispensable. A good woman is submissive and compliant, always sexually available, but only to her assigned partner. In a universe where the rules are always set externally and can change at a whim, a woman must always be on her guard. She is expendable, so she has to work extra hard to keep favor. A woman is never enough as she is. She exists only in relationship to her usefulness to others, mainly to create and sustain life. I just realized that I'm reading this. If you don't know me, if you don't know my daughters or my sisters, if you don't know my mother, if you don't understand where I'm coming from, I can barely keep myself together as I read this. It is so disturbing. It is so damaging to think that young women and older women have to be part of this horrendous machine that grinds people's souls up to powder. I don't want there to be any mistake as I'm reading this, that anyone would think that I condone this cage that women are in. I'm reading this to help women escape the cage. To go on in this painful way, the best sort of woman, patriarchy tells us, is the silent, invisible woman. The woman should be shrouded in a veil, hidden away at home, the uncomplaining mother pulling the double shift, the smiling assistant. Society has been intent on erasing women from the arts and sciences, from healing and spiritual practice, from positions of public power, political influence, or independent wealth. Her entire identity was, over the course of several hundred years, legally erased until she became merely her father's chattel to be handed on to her husband. A married woman at the turn of the 20th century had no identity in law. Her possessions, her children, her name were her husband's. She was not a being in her own right. This is what our grandmothers experienced. This is what we are recovering from, a total annihilation of being. Many conservative patriarchal traditions, from Christian to Muslim, in the 21st century still worship at the altar of the invisible woman. And those of us that are not controlled by such strictures have still learned to erase ourselves through dieting and not speaking up for ourselves, using quiet voices, and apologizing for ourselves. In the wise words of Rebecca Solnit, some women get erased a little at a time, some all at once. Some reappear. Every woman who appears wrestles with the forces that would have her disappear. She struggles with the forces that would tell her story for her or write her out of the story. The ability to tell your own story in words or images is already a victory, already a revolt. End quote. But it is not just our bodies we are taught to hide. We are also warned of the darkness inside, which we are told women have more of: moodiness, anger, depression, resentment, lust, jealousy. Deny them, we are taught early on. Resist them, leave them in the dark inside of you. These are sins, the devil's work, signs of mental illness. Never let them see the light of day, we are warned. Do not speak of them, and certainly don't express them. Lock them up in your own personal Pandora's box within. Throw away the key. Never even admit to its existence. Death to the dark feminine. Erase your basic instincts. The rules are clear. If you will not be a good woman, if you will not be silent or sacrifice yourself, quietly, happy, if you will not domesticate yourself fully, comply unquestioningly, or work double time, you will be sacrificed on the altar of patriarchy. You will be burned, and you will deserve it. The pain here is that she isn't talking about burning only from a perspective of literary context. She's talking about literally being burned. Here's Marianne Williamson. This is from an address to the 2015 World Parliament of Religions. This is what Marianne said. Passionate, free-thinking women have never been appreciated by the religions of the world, because passionate, free-thinking women raise passionate, free-thinking children who grow up to be passionate, free-thinking adults who are very difficult to manipulate and almost impossible to control. I didn't even know who Marianne Williamson was until the recent debates, but this is a good quote. I'll end with that quote. Feel free to chat with me about this anytime.